Good morning, friends. Welcome back to Astrology Today. My name is Mel Rose, and I'm here to share your daily aspects. Today is Saturday, April 2, 2022. The sun is in Aries today with Mercury and Chiron. In fact, Sun, Mercury, and Chiron are right in the midst of a triple conjunction. Sign influences most affected by this would be Leo, Aries, Virgo, Gemini, Aquarius, and everyone else. We've been talking about this conjunction for a few days now, and I'm interested to know how these thoughts, plans, and conversations are going for y'all. Do you feel safe and comfortable expressing yourself in your various circles and groups? Do you think you are accepted and embraced, quirks and all? We're in the midst of the 50-year return of Chiron in Aries, and being one of those born with Chiron in Aries, these are themes I've been working on all my life. As a young person, I struggled, and for much of my adulthood, to feel as though I fit into certain spaces. School and work and social environments were especially difficult for me. I never understood why there were some places where I simply didn't feel accepted, though I had some idea it was because of the way people perceived me. I would make assumptions as to what the social rejection meant, and I would allow those assumptions to cast doubt on my own drives and intentions. Self-doubt is a liar, friends. It will cause you to embody and project energies that aren't really yours. Other people pick up those vibes, and your self-doubt is confirmed by the way other people respond to your embodiment of something that isn't really even you. That awkward feeling, the tendency to joke around or entertain others rather than sharing about myself, or only feeling like I can be myself when I've had some drinks, these are the signs of self-doubt and self-sabotage. I really had to work to come back around to the most simple understanding of myself, that I am a kind and loving person who tries to be gentle and enjoys connecting with others in friendship, that my missteps and mistakes are not evidence that I am a bad person. Yes, I have been damaged. Much of it came from circumstances I couldn't control. Some of it was self-sabotage. But these are not excuses to remain stuck in ideas and behaviors that limit my ability to connect or that make me hesitate to share myself with others in a genuine way. When I was a kid, they would say, just be yourself, like I knew who I was. But we all have a journey to get to know ourselves. And now that I do, I find it easier to connect and to fit in where I want to. And I can hear another version of myself who would have asked, why does it even matter? If I don't fit in, that's fine. Most people are jerks. Everyone disappoints us eventually. It is true that people will surprise us in unpleasant ways that increase our desire for isolation, and not every person or group is going to be for me. However, the human animal is a social creature. Connection with others enhances our lives and prolongs them. We can be, do, and have so much more in our lives through our interactions and relations to other people. It is worth the effort to become relatable, and now is the time to give that effort your attention. The moon begins in Aries today, making ingress to Taurus around noon. This represents a shift in the heart and home from pure, impatient initiative to a slower pace and an invitation to become grounded in the familiar. And the waxing crescent invites us to continue thinking, dreaming, and laying plans for the culmination of our heart's desire. Okay, I'm going to get right into the aspects, but first I'll point out this handcrafted key on the right-hand side of the page. Most of the symbols on the page have made it into the key. If you desire a point of reference, it's right there. I have otherwise divided the page into two columns, one for each of our luminaries. So the moon is the luminary that sheds light on our inner lives, and this is your relationship with yourself. What it feels like to be in your body, your heart, and your mind, or in your home. The transits and aspects the moon makes are all very brief, and they may have some impact on those things you think, feel, know, and intuit, but may not choose to express. The sun is the luminary that sheds light on our outer lives. This is how you show up in the world, specifically in your work, social, and civic spaces. I do address the sun and the rest of the planet's movements on this side because it has more to do with how we express ourselves outside the heart and home. And we begin on the moon side today. Central Standard Time, friends, at 5:24 in the morning. The moon makes a sextile with Venus. So that's our inner life, our inner experience in a cooperative vibration with the planet for love and money, or the planet that governs how receptive we are. Moon goes sextile to Venus, and they influence us to open up and be receptive. We desire affection, attention, gifts, compensation. Sextile is cooperative, so if we're able to be open and receive without being selfish about it, we can have some positive results from it. And this really reminded me of a quote from one of my favorite astrologers. His name is Rob Breszny, and he runs the Truth and Beauty Lab. I think you can find him at truthandbeauty.com, and he's also Truth Rooster on Instagram at Truth Rooster. And he says, you can really have anything you want as long as you're willing to ask for it in an unselfish tone of voice. And I really thought that works well with this very cooperative moon sextile Venus aspect. And then at 8:51 a.m., the void of course moon goes square to Pluto. Moon and Pluto together will influence us to feel things deeply, to notice things we normally wouldn't, especially about ourselves. Square energy here brings challenges with deepening awareness. While you're being honest with yourself, remember to also be kind to yourself. And then we have an approximate 3 hours void of course right here. And this is a good period of time when the moon is really relatively uninfluenced by either of those signs, just kind of hanging out there in the middle, in transition, so to speak, to reflect and journal and make use of our intuitive and creative practices while the moon is between those locations. And then at 11:50 a.m., the moon makes ingress to Taurus. I mean, a little tiny Taurus head there. Okay, so the moon in Taurus, again, invites us to slow our pace, and it makes it easier to practice patience as we labor to make our plans grow strong. So I do this little picture because we have to be able to practice patience for good growth, right? For strong growth. And then on the sun side of the page at 8:42 this morning, Mercury goes conjunct to Chiron. So Gemini, Virgo, Aquarius, I'm looking at you. This is the second of 3 conjunctions happening yesterday and today involving Mercury, Chiron, and the Sun. Mercury is our intellectual self, the one that makes all our day-to-day thoughts, plans, and communication. And here it appears to join the same space as Chiron, and the effect has a brightening or pressurized energy. Chiron in Aries under pressure says we have got to heal this sense of belonging and ability to connect with others. And Mercury in Aries under pressure says, let's talk about it because I'm all out of patience to let it be. Now is the time to start looking for ways to relieve yourself of any and all discomfort you have with saying what you need, sharing about yourself in social and workplace situations. This is going to cover poor interpersonal habits like oversharing, undersharing, poor timing in our attempts to relate, dominating the conversation or assuming the worst of people, or avoiding connection with others altogether because we doubt ourselves and others. We develop all kinds of bad habits in reaction to past losses and rejection, and the bad habit is the obstacle we're trying to get past here. Then at 2:06 p.m., Chiron reaches its aphelion. The strongest impact here would likely be on Capricorn and Aquarius. Chiron is at its farthest point from the sun in its elliptical orbit around the sun. And Chiron's problem-solving energies aren't out of reach, but it will take a greater effort. Fortunately, we have the sun and Mercury right by our sides here, energetic friends that know how to help us, and they are all in Aries right now, which lends us initiative and power in our efforts. But with all that initiative and power and sunshine and communicative, idea-driven help, we still have to work for it. And then at 6:11 p.m., the sun goes conjunct to Mercury. So Aries, Leo, Gemini, Virgo, you're all invited to this party as well. Third of 3 conjunctions of the sun, Mercury, and Chiron. Sun conjunct Mercury in Aries may give our attempts to communicate an impatient vibe. Our intellect is very efficient and direct at this time. We can be very assertive in our communications. Remember compassion, friends. Mars and Aquarius here can be a little bit cold and forgetful of humanity. And in the oncoming column, in the ongoing column, I mean, now we come back around to the first of the 3, which is Aries, Leo, Aquarius. Sun conjunct Chiron shines a healing light on those areas of our own relating that still need work. Look them over in the light of day, give them some time. You may find yourself changing your entire approach to other people. Be gentle with yourself, but not so gentle that you can't make any progress, okay? The obstacles and solutions are all equally visible now. That's what the sun's light does. It exposes everything. It reveals everything. You take something out into the sunlight, you can definitely see everything about it. So that's what the sun does, is it reveals all. And while it's being revealed, just take the time to, clean up those wounds, get rid of some of the baggage, let some things go, and maybe, adjust the approach a little bit. All right, next week's highlights. Mars goes conjunct to Saturn. Venus enters Pisces, a first quarter moon in Cancers. I'm going to start that over. Mars goes conjunct to Saturn. So this is going to be about initiative and stability, sort of in that pressurized space again. So initiative under pressure and stability under pressure. I think we're really going to get to work on something there. And then Venus enters Pisces on Friday. We'll have a first quarter moon in Cancer also on Friday. And that will be the time when we get out of the dreaming and planning phase and into the getting to work phase so that we can, culminate some goals. And then on Sunday, the Mercury is going to make ingress to Taurus. So zoom quick, it made a really quick pass through Pisces. It stayed here in Aries long enough just to stir up some trouble, and now it's going to move on into Taurus. I'll be interested to see what it does next. Okay, that's it for today's astrology. Thank you all so much for tuning in. Please like my video, subscribe, and click the notifications bell. I post here every day, and I wouldn't want you to miss a thing. Also, friends, I appreciate it so much when you comment to ask a question or to give me encouragement. Please put a comment in the section below. I will see it and respond. Now, I'm going to take a couple of minutes to talk about tarot as it relates to astrology today. First, I will discuss the card that sits on the top of the page, on the side of the page. Then I will do a quick rundown of today's astrology before throwing a random card that hopefully speaks to today's energies. So let's get into it. The card on the side of the page today is the 3 of Wands, and it relates to the second 10 days of the sun's 30-day transit through Aries. So we are in the second 10 days. We're right in the middle of the sun's transit through Aries. You might even say at the peak or about at the culmination of the sun's transit through Aries. And the the Three of Wands is about expansion. So Two of Wands was like, we're making plans, and we're not just making plans, but we're transforming them into action, things that are happening in the world. And so this is the point where you've already gone ahead and pushed some things out in the world. You've made a couple more accomplishments. You can see your empire expanding before you, right? This can be a time of rapid growth. Things can start to unfold very quickly. The things that you started will start to unfold very quickly. And there's also an element of this that's like, I love the confidence, first of all, of this card. It's just like, yep, I set that in motion and now it's going. And then there's the element of this also where this person is looking out over the water, but they can see the far shore. And what that reminds me of is, like when you set a goal in mind and you want to keep your eyes focused on that goal, you're also going to be able to see the obstacles that come up between you and that goal, the things you're going to have to step over and around or move out of the way or take care of in some way in order to get where you're going. And this is a sort of a stance of confidence that one can surmount any obstacle. One can and will surmount any obstacle in the pursuit of their dreams. I think that's a lovely energy. Very fiery. And now I am going to take a couple of minutes and shuffle my cards while I remind myself and the cards that the Sun, Mercury, and Chiron are making conjunct yesterday and today. They are all in Aries right now. So we're having this great big many-themed discussion about how we feel expressing ourselves, our sense of belonging and feeling like we fit into groups, and why it's important, why it's important to be part of a group, why it is important to be able to feel comfortable expressing ourselves around other people, and why it's important to be able to connect with other people. So that's very much, I see the whole green and orange theme over there on the side of the page. It's perfect for our purposes. And the moon is waxing crescent, so we are dreaming up our heart's desire. We are taking a look within at what our heart's desire is so that we can make these big goals that we know that we can move through the obstacles to get to. The dream, the goal, the big one, it has to be something that you're willing to give everything you've got to get there. Okay, if it's not something that you're willing to give everything you've got to get there, then you're not going to surmount those obstacles. You're going to get stopped along the way. You're going to be like, oh, I don't know if it's worth it. Right? It's worth it. It's worth it. And it's worth it if you know it's your dream. So, now is the time to be making your plans for global domination. And then on the Sun side of the page, we have Mercury conjunct Chiron, Sun conjunct Chiron, Sun conjunct Mercury. Well, Mercury is at its aphelion, which is its farthest point from the Sun, which means, yeah, if you want this healing, it's available to you. It's always available to you, but you're going to have to reach for it a little bit at this time. You're going to have to work a little harder for it. And that's okay, because the Sun healing and all revealing light is shining there. Mercury is there to help you really have great ideas, to ask the right questions, and to communicate about the healing that you're doing, which is very important. You've got to include other people in your efforts to connect with other people. And then on the moon side of the page, we have some good vibes here with Venus. Anything you want, you can have, as long as you're willing to ask it for it in an unselfish tone of voice. In fact, that's probably going to generate a good outcome for you with that sextile energy. And the moon square Pluto, just remember to be kind to yourself when you get into the deep reverie of your thoughts and emotions, okay? And then a few hours void, of course, so it's a good time to get into those intuitive and creative practices before the moon makes ingress to Taurus, where we learn how to sink our toes into the soil and grow roots and become grounded in what is familiar, practice patience with it so that it can grow strong. Okay, and with all of that said, I'm going to go ahead and throw this card. The Page of Wands. Oh my goodness, wands and wands, guys. So wands are fire in the tarot, and in fact, this is wands because Aries is a fire sign. It's one of our 3 fire signs. So you know, we keep the elemental theme with the card and the primary sun sign. So wands is fire. The Page of Wands is like the lowest of the royalty in the wands. So this is a person who has a lot of spark and drive, who has a lot of heart, shall we say, to get going on a quest, to begin something new, to move something forward. The Page of Wands is very appropriate for Aries because it's a youthful character. Aries is the child of the zodiac. It's the first sign of the zodiac, so often represented like a child. And this person, you know, may or may not be a child, but it's an indication, Page is an indication of sort of youth and the inexperience that comes with youth. So, you know, this person's got some fire, some drive, some things they want to do, some, you know, some effort they want to put in, but they, you know, they don't have all that much experience. They might mess up. It's important to remember when you're making your plans, you know, you might not plan for everything. You have to be flexible with fire. You have to be ready to try to build it up or to put it down, right? So and I'm saying that about fire, the element, but I'm also saying that about spark, drive, initiative. You know, you have to be able to manage those flows. You know, you have to know when you need like a blowtorch of initiative or when you just need like a big lighter of initiative, right? So there are levels to the flows, these inwardly sourced, and I want to keep reminding you of that. They're internally sourced resources that we have, okay? Inspiration, spark, drive, initiative, desire. These come from within and they help us, you know, mold our lives into these beautiful journeys. So, you know, we're at the beginning of our quest. This is the second card. It says number 3 because we started with 2, but this is the second card in that journey. And, you know, it would be normal to make some mistakes of inexperience, right? It would be normal when you're starting out on something new just to not necessarily be able to estimate everything you're going to need to do, okay? So once you've made your plan and you see things beginning to rapidly unfold in the direction of your dreams, and you see the things that also start to not unfold in the direction of your dreams, right? The unintended consequences, how shall we say, then, you know, we have to be ready. We have to be ready with that drive and initiative to, you know, to cut this off and say, nope, this isn't what I was trying to do. We're going to put out that little fire and we're going to push it in that direction, right? So, you know, stay on your toes, be alert, be aware as you are diving into your passions, and, you know, your heart's desire. You know, your heart's desire is probably something that sort of sets your heart on fire, right? It gives you a lot of inspiration. It makes you smile a very happy smile when you think about having your heart's desire. And, you know, Page of Wands, she's even sort of looking up in that direction. Page of Wands is a very heart's desire kind of vibe. I feel that. So, you know, you've got to take that sense of initiative, and you've just got to remember when you lack experience that you have to be on your toes, right? And you have to be ready to respond to the experience with the quickness that you reserve for, you know, just getting things done in your plan. When things, you know, step outside the plan, when things get beyond your plan, when unintended consequences come up, you've got to be on top of those too. And I think that's all I have to say about that. So, thank you very much for being here. I appreciate you all so much for showing up. My name is Mel Rose, and I'll see you all back here tomorrow for more astrology today.